My mother had always been good to me. Then, right before my early admission to Stanford, she died. I buried my grief. I planned her funeral myself. It was the most elaborate funeral our town had ever seen. Before the cremation, I overheard my aunt on the phone. "Sis, Grandma only had 2 daughters," she said. "Sis can only be Mom." I froze. My hands started shaking. A voice answered. My mother's voice. I always knew she was no good. Now, I don't have to put up with her. She was talking about me. I looked at the body laid out behind me. My chest went cold. Then I turned. I screamed. I threw myself onto the casket. "Mom, I can't bear to lose you." My mother's voice came through the phone again. Satisfied. Pleased. "Well, is she falling apart yet?" My aunt laughed, crying nonstop. Her eyes are swollen like a frog. "You really know how to twist the knife, sis." If Madison hadn't agreed to give up her Stanford spot, would I have needed a plan like this? She won't recover in time. She won't be ready for the interview. "Don't talk to me about harsh," my mother snapped. If Madison had just applied to a local college, none of this would have been necessary. I raised her to actually believe we had some deep bond. Now that she thinks I died because of her, she won't be able to handle it. 2 weeks earlier, I'd told my mom the good news. I'd passed the preliminary review for Stanford's early admission. 1 interview left. Then, I was in. She smiled at first. Then, her phone rang. When she came back, her face had changed. "Maybe," she said, "you should just go to a school nearby. I can't stand the thought of you so far away." I'd felt warm inside. I even teased her, leaning into her shoulder. "Mom, there isn't a single good school around here. I'll come home every weekend. You're too attached to me. I don't know what you'll do when I get married someday." She opened her mouth to argue. I joked my way past it. Not long after that, she died at home. I clenched my fists so hard my nails cut into my palms. I didn't feel a thing. "Sis, isn't this unfair to Madison?" my aunt asked. "You raised her for over a decade. Stanford is an honor for this whole family." My mother's voice rose. "Unfair? If it weren't for her, I wouldn't be afraid to claim Olivia as mine right now. I thought I could wait her out, but she just keeps getting worse. First, she steals Olivia's mother. Now she's stealing her spot at Stanford. Nobody gets everything. Olivia can't be expected to give up everything either." I looked across the funeral hall. Teachers, classmates, faces I knew. But Olivia, my desk mate, wasn't there. Every holiday, my mother used to pack a lunch for Olivia too. Hers was usually nicer than mine. I used to think Olivia not showing up meant I was wrong. She wasn't cold. She just already knew. "Sis, when are you coming back?" my aunt asked. A long pause. Then, with total certainty, "I'm not. I missed out on raising Olivia for 10 years. It's time I made up for it. But what if Madison still passes the Stanford review?" My aunt pressed. "You know how she is. She finishes whatever she sets her mind to." My mother answered, confident. "That's where you come in. Bring me up around her. Tell her I died because I couldn't bear her leaving for a school so far away with that kind of weight on her heart. She won't have the focus left to prepare." My aunt laughed. "You're putting me in a hard spot. I'm a terrible liar." They both laughed together. That laugh, a few seconds of it, it hollowed me out. I took a breath, steadied my legs, and walked back into the hall. At the entrance, red roses. So many of them. I'd bought every single one, overpaying at the flower shop. The florist had been stunned. Nobody brings roses to a crematorium. I told him my mother always said her life should burn as bright as a red rose. He called me a devoted daughter. Thinking back on it now, that compliment felt like an insult. Everything I'd ever done had apparently disgusted her. That's why she ran. That's why she faked her own death. I walked to the ice casket in the center of the hall. If my mother wasn't really dead, who was lying inside? Wearing her face? I leaned in close. Eyebrows, nose, mouth. Even the small mole on the tip of the nose was identical. Exact. Down to the position of the mole. I thought of the wax museum downtown. Figures so real you'd swear they could blink. While no one was watching, I opened the casket. I let out a wail. "Mom, I can't bear to lose you." I threw myself across her, gripping her hand, refusing to let go. My grandmother lunged, yanking me back in a panic. In the struggle, I scraped a sliver of skin from her palm with my nail. I closed my fist around it. "What is wrong with you?" Grandma shouted. "You won't even let your mother rest." Is this why she died barely past 40? I rubbed the sliver between my fingers. Soft, greasy, wax. Tears came instantly, and I let them. "Grandma," I said, voice breaking, "what if she isn't really gone?" I think I heard her voice. She just had a checkup. The doctor said 90. Easy. People don't just die at home like that. Fear flickered across Grandma's face. Don't talk like that. Death is unpredictable. There's a certificate. She's gone. Don't say another word. 7 days earlier, my aunt had called to tell me Mom was gone. I'd rushed home and found her laid out, dressed, in an ice casket. My aunt said Mom had been too anxious to sleep, ever since learning I was leaving for college. On the phone with her that day, she'd suddenly gone quiet. By the time my aunt got there, she was already gone. It was too hot to wait. They'd had the casket brought in fast. When I reached for the casket, my grandmother slapped my hand away. Then she slapped my face. Hard. "You ungrateful wretch. If you hadn't insisted on that school, would your mother be dead right now? Is Stanford worth more to you than her life?" Her voice cut through the room. My cheek burned. The relatives murmured around me. So disrespectful. She worked herself to the bone for that girl. Doesn't matter what school she gets into, character like that goes nowhere. I wanted to scream the truth. That I wasn't who they thought. That my scholarship money had been keeping this family afloat for years. That she'd never once gone without because of me. But before I could say a word, my aunt clamped a hand over my mouth. She pulled me into a crushing hug, sobbing theatrically. "My poor sister. You died for nothing." Every eye in the room turned on me like a blade. I couldn't break free. It had all happened too fast. Looking back, the story had holes everywhere. After that, my grandmother and aunt watched me like hawks, afraid I'd open that casket again. I never got close again, not until the wax figure went into the furnace. "Your mother loved you more than anything," my aunt said. "Let her stay with you a little longer. Once we find the right plot, we'll give her a proper burial." I looked down at the urn pressed into my arms. Hollow. Fake. My aunt swore she never lied yet. She'd built this whole story flawlessly. She'd even faked the ashes inside. It wasn't that they couldn't find a burial plot. It was that they wouldn't spend real money burying someone who wasn't dead. I carried the urn home. The house felt hollow around me. I opened my phone. Olivia had posted a new story an hour earlier. A man and a woman, arms around each other, smiling for the camera. The caption, "Thank you, Mom, for selling your gold to take me on this trip. It's your support that gave me the courage to go after the world." Location, Cancun. I scrolled further. A full family photo. Olivia's mother's face had been swapped out for a cartoon avatar in every single shot. Someone had asked in the comments why she always hid her mom's face. Olivia answered, "She's just camera shy. I gave her the cute avatar instead." I compared the woman's posture across photo after photo. Different outfit, cartoon face. But the small habits, the way she stood, the way she tilted her head, those don't change. That woman was my mother. I looked around the living room, untouched, since the day she died. Even her half-finished tea still sat on the coffee table. I set my phone down. I reached out and knocked the cup to the floor. Then I stood, gathered every photo of her in the house, and burned them. I smashed every frame. Every object she'd left behind gone. By the time I was done, the house looked ransacked, and somehow I felt lighter than I had in days. Once I'd calmed down, I called the police myself. They arrived fast. My aunt and grandmother showed up right behind them. "Why would you call the police?" my aunt asked, frowning. "Your mother's funeral is already handled." "This isn't about Mom," I said calmly. "We've been robbed. Look at this mess." I stepped aside so they could see the destruction. Every time I win a competition, I buy my mom a gold bracelet. At least 200 grams each time. All of it gone. At today's gold prices, that's well over $100,000. I held up the empty jewelry box. My aunt's face twisted. Well, that's not... Not what, Auntie? You can't make up a number that big with the police standing right here. Let them investigate. The truth will come out. Grandma tugged at my aunt's sleeve. My aunt's jaw tightened. "There's no thief," she finally said. "You're going to Stanford. Your mother worried about the cost of living in a city like that. She asked me to sell the bracelets. No matter how hard she had to work, she didn't want you looked down on at school." I let my mouth fall open, stunned. "Auntie, why didn't you tell me sooner? I already called the police. They might think you're the thief." My aunt's face soured. "I've been buried in funeral arrangements. I forgot to mention it. I never imagined that right after your own mother's death, you'd go digging through her things." She was a professional, a few sentences, and she'd cleared her own name and pinned me as the ungrateful one. I lowered my head and let the tears fall. "Auntie, I just wanted to keep something of hers. Look, everything of Mom's in this house is destroyed. I thought the bracelets were hidden well enough that a thief wouldn't find them. I went to check. I bought every one of those bracelets myself. I wasn't after her gold." The officer's gaze shifted toward my aunt, suspicious. She forced a stiff smile. "That's not your reading into this." Before she passed, I said softly, "Mom was still thinking about my tuition. I have to study hard. For her sake." My aunt's lips twitched. "There's no need for that. Just let things happen naturally." "Auntie, where's the money from the bracelets?" I asked, fidgeting nervously. "I spent everything on the funeral, and now the house has been robbed. I don't even have money for breakfast tomorrow." I stared at her, waiting. Caught between me and two police officers, she finally cracked. "The money's at home. I'll transfer it once I'm back. Actually, Auntie, just send it through your phone right now. I'm worried you'll forget. You did forget to mention the bracelets after all. If that thief hadn't broken in, I might never have known." Right on cue, my stomach growled. The officer beside me gave her a long, pointed look. Her hands shook as she typed her password in, wrong, twice, before the transfer finally went through. A notification chimed. $190,000. I smiled and walked away. Before I left, the officer pulled me aside. "Your mother's gone now. Keep a close eye on what's yours. Don't let anyone take advantage of you. Call us if anything happens. We'll come right away." He shot a final warning look at my aunt and grandmother. My aunt didn't dare argue with him standing there, but I could see the fury underneath. After they left, my aunt rushed my grandmother out the door. At home, I pulled up the footage from the camera I'd hidden at Grandma's house. My aunt was already on a video call with my mother, venting. "Faking your death was bad enough. Why did you have to take the family gold too?" "We almost got caught." "You're overthinking it," my mother said. "Just stick to the story. Tell the police a thief took it." My aunt exhaled hard. $190,000 is not nothing. If they dig deeper, your whole death is going to unravel. Do you remember how you even got that death certificate? You and Frank could both end up in prison. I lost serious face today. Don't expect me to eat this cost too. My mother's voice turned syrupy. Am I that kind of person? I'll send the money right now. That girl is too clever. Always trying to grab everything for herself. She couldn't resist one more dig at me. A moment later, my aunt checked her phone. Her expression softened. The money had landed. Not long after, Olivia came back to school. I'd timed it. Right after the bracelet money cleared, she must have booked her flight home. She stormed into the classroom and glared at me. I stared right back, not even blinking. She laughed, then pulled a bag of souvenirs from her backpack and started handing them out to everyone except me. "My mom picked these out herself," she said, loud enough for the room. The class lit up. "Your mom is amazing, Olivia. I wish my mom was like that." She leaned toward me, feigning sympathy. "Sorry, Emily, I told her about you, but she just forgot." A flicker of fake guilt crossed her face. I glanced at the souvenir in a classmate's hand and said, evenly, "It's fine. Better that she forgets me." I pointed at the small flower charm one of them was holding. "Do you know those flowers are traditionally used at funerals in some cultures? Any idea who those little tokens are really meant for?" The room went quiet. Suddenly, the souvenirs felt radioactive in their hands. Olivia forced a laugh. "Emily, I didn't bring you anything you don't need to twist it into something dark." I just shrugged. Funny how that works out. Within seconds, half the class was pulling out their phones, faces changing. One by one, they returned the gifts, piling them onto her desk. Olivia swept the whole pile into the trash, fuming. After school, I ran into Olivia's father, Officer Frank. He worked at our district police station. He was the one who'd signed my mother's death certificate. My grandmother used to brag about him, constantly called him the son she never had. Turns out that wasn't just talk. Every week, Olivia found a new way to flaunt how good her mother was to her. A new jacket one day, a home-cooked steak lunch the next. I watched the price tags drop a little more each time and said nothing. My aunt visited again, first time since the police came. "We found a burial plot for your mother. It's a little expensive, though. My salary doesn't stretch that far, and your grandmother's pension barely covers her own bills." I did the math. Selling this house should just about cover it. "You could move in with your grandmother. She'll cook for you." She made it clear she and Grandma weren't contributing a cent. I stayed quiet, then played along. "Auntie, don't worry. I won't let Mom go without a resting place. Memorial shrines at home are common now, aren't they? I'll set up a tablet for her here. She can stay with me, like she did before she died." She sold her own gold for my tuition. If she knew I sold the house to bury her, she'd never rest easy. My aunt's voice sharpened with urgency. "That's not the same thing. Your mother gave that up because she loved you. As her daughter, refusing to do this for her, that's disrespect. She's gone, and you can't even give her a proper resting place. Do you even deserve to be called her child?" I cried right on cue. "But Auntie, I'm not 18 yet. The bank won't let me sell the house without my father involved. Even though it's in my name, he's still the one paying the mortgage every month. Unless he signs off, the bank won't approve it." I pulled out my phone, like I was about to call him. My aunt panicked and slapped the phone out of my hand. "No, don't call your father." She caught herself, softened her tone. "You know how messy your parents' divorce was. If he finds out you're selling the house to bury your mother, he'll never agree. It's better if he doesn't know." I put on a troubled look. "Then what do we do? Maybe I should bring Mom's death certificate to the bank myself. See if they'll make an exception." My aunt thought it over, nodded, and went home to grab it. She handed it to me, eager to head to the bank immediately. I told her the bank was already closed for the day it was Friday. I'd take Monday off school instead. The mention of me missing school for this seemed to satisfy her completely. But the next morning, she came rushing back and took the certificate from me. "You're still a minor. Let me hold on to something this important. I'll bring it to the bank myself on Monday." I smiled and let her take it, knowing exactly why. A death certificate makes it easy to cancel someone's legal registration. Besides the actual dead, only the undocumented have no registration at all. I looked at her with practiced trust. "You're always so careful, Auntie." Monday morning, we went to the bank early. My aunt cried in front of the staff, painting a picture of unbearable hardship. With the scene she made, the bank agreed a minor's signature would be accepted, as long as the house sold. Relieved, she walked me straight to a real estate office and listed the house over $100,000 under market value. I climbed into a cab, asked the driver to circle the block a few times, then went straight back to the realtor. He looked genuinely disappointed when I told him I wanted to pull the listing. "Are you sure? It'll sell fast at that price?" I shook my head firmly. My father bought this house for me. Now that my mother's gone, my aunt is trying to trick me into selling it. I don't want to. If I sell it, I'll have nowhere that's really mine. The realtor's eyes went wide. He muttered a few choice words about my aunt and pulled the listing immediately. I left and got straight into my father's car. "You're sure about canceling your mother's registration?" he asked. "Once it's gone, she can't use her bank cards, can't live like a normal person." I smiled. Isn't this exactly what she wanted? To stay close to Olivia and her mother to take care of them. Once her old registration is gone, she'll have all the time in the world for that. My dad and I drove to a station far from our neighborhood. With the real death certificate and the registration book, the cancellation went through fast. My aunt still believed the certificate she'd taken back was the real one. But by then, I'd already had the original and quietly arranged a forged copy. Good enough to fool a bank clerk, not good enough to fool a government database. I didn't understand something, though. Why had Mom insisted Frank pull strings for a real certificate when a fake one would have worked just as well? I asked my dad. He looked troubled. "Frank was your mother's first love. Your grandfather hated him. They broke up because of it. Years later, after the divorce, he transferred into our district. Your grandmother practically arranged the rest." He shook his head. "Everyone in that family lost their minds, except your grandfather." Then he laughed. "Instead of valuing a daughter with your intelligence, they fawn over a stranger's kid and pull a stunt this reckless on top of it. There's a storm coming for them." I looked out the window, feeling lighter than I had in weeks. A good daughter honors her mother's wishes. That's all I was doing. Not long after the registration was canceled, my aunt called. "Did you pull the house listing? Did you cancel your mother's registration behind my back?" "I have the death certificate. How did you even manage that?" I leaned back in my chair, unhurried. I thought about selling. But there are too many memories in that house. If I keep it, Mom can watch over me from her urn. If she's buried in some cemetery, she'd have to wander for ages just to find me. My aunt's breathing turned heavy. "Fine, but you can't cancel her registration either. As long as it exists, there's still hope. Like she hasn't really left the family." I let out a cold laugh. I heard the living world and the world of the dead don't talk to each other. If her registration's still active here, the other side won't recognize she's gone. Then she's stuck between both worlds. Lost? Pitiful, really. My aunt was stunned. "But your mother—" Before she could finish, a different voice cut in. My mother's voice. "Did you do this on purpose? Because you knew I wasn't really dead? What did I do in a past life to deserve a daughter like you wishing her own mother were truly gone? I kept one secret from you, and you retaliate like this? The daughter Frank had with another woman, that's who you actually love, isn't it?" She was furious now, years of resentment spilling out. "You can't compare to Olivia. She's not even my real daughter, and she's still more thoughtful than you." She checks in on me. "You hide in your room and never call. It's like you don't even have a family. So what if you win competitions and make money? In my heart, you don't measure up to one finger of hers. Now that you've gotten what you wanted, Olivia is my daughter from now on," she said. "Unless you withdraw from Stanford, don't ever call me Mom again." I let out a quiet snort and hung up. The calls kept coming. I blocked the number. My father knocked on my door for dinner. Every dish on the table was something I loved. "Even if you're at war with them, your father's got your back," he said. "Just focus on your exams. I'll handle the rest." Looking at his smile, something in my chest ached. Those who really love you lift you up. Those who don't will always find something to criticize. We ate well that night. When I passed Stanford's final assessment and secured my spot, he was overjoyed. He booked a banquet hall, introduced me to everyone as his daughter, and posted photos that night with the caption, 10 years of hard work, and today she finally earned it. The post took off. I noticed my aunt liked it, then unliked it seconds later. Probably my mother, glancing at her phone, accidentally tapping then panicking and undoing it. My success seemed to be eating at both of them. They doubled down, determined to prove they were living better than us. My mother started a video blog. The premise: a day in the life of a devoted mom raising a senior. Waking at 3 a.m. to cook breakfast. Packing lunches. Driving Olivia to school while she studied in the car. She never hid her face in these apron and all the picture of domestic perfection. The comments filled with other moms gushing about the bond between them. This is what real motherly love looks like. You understand her sacrifice, and she honors your effort. Olivia forwarded every single video to me, every time, without exception. It was honestly impressive how much she managed to juggle, with finals right around the corner. Eventually, classmates started noticing. Someone commented, "Wait, isn't this Emily's mom? I thought she passed away. How is she Olivia's mom now?" Emily took weeks off when her mom died. The whole faculty was worried about her Stanford spot. The comment vanished within minutes. Barely a ripple. We were seniors drowning in our own finals. Nobody had the bandwidth to chase it further. After finals, Olivia barely scraped into a second-tier school, despite having coasted through her own early admission review without studying. Knowledge doesn't stick when there's a camera in your face the whole time. The day I went back to pick up my acceptance letter, reporters were already at the gate. "What school did you get into?" one asked, shoving a microphone toward me. I unfolded the letter. "Stanford," I said. "What's it like, staying this calm after getting into Stanford?" she asked, smiling. I looked straight into the camera. Before my early admission, my mother faked her own death and took my deskmate on a trip abroad. It taught me something. Even a mother isn't always someone you can rely on. A good education and the ability to stand on your own, that's the only real protection from being used. The crowd went dead silent. Every eye turned toward me, then toward the reporter, stunned. She tried to push for more. My father had already pulled me into the car. Within a day, it was trending everywhere. The secret to a Stanford admission: mom faked her death. Why did this student's mother fake her death? People found her old video accounts, now flooded with comments. Forcing your own daughter aside for an affair partner's kid, disgusting. Like father. Like daughter. He's a homewrecker. She's a mother thief. Rotten family, top to bottom. They scrubbed the accounts within hours. Didn't matter. Olivia had already sent me every video, downloaded, just in case I didn't click the link. I uploaded all of it to a second account of my own. The internet has a real talent for nicknames. My mother got branded the faking dead biological mother. Olivia became the daughter who climbed over a real family to get there. Neither name was kind. Both went viral. As for Officer Frank, I hadn't forgotten him. I filed a formal complaint with the department, accusing him of forging a death certificate. I attached the real one, the one I'd swapped out months earlier. He was investigated shortly after. Before he was taken into custody, he beat my mother. "This is your fault," he screamed. "If it wasn't for your idiotic plan, I'd still have my job. I wouldn't be facing prison." She was beaten badly enough that she couldn't get off the floor. She still couldn't understand how loving someone had led her here. My aunt's resentment toward my mother ran just as deep by then. Online sleuths had pieced together her role in the cover-up. Every day she went to work. A crowd gathered outside with megaphones, broadcasting everything she'd done. Her company couldn't survive the backlash. They fired her without severance. Because of her, My uncle and cousin got dragged into the gossip too. He couldn't take the pressure. He filed for divorce. And my grandmother people said she'd been rotten at the core all along. She didn't live much longer after that. Hearing all of it, I just felt the weight of cause and effect settling into place. Everything we do eventually finds its way back to us. Everyone answers for their own choices. Eventually. What do you think after hearing this story? Let me know in the comments below.